Hello and welcome to the Statesman Talk. I'm Ananya Tasgupta. The Waqf Amendment Act 2025 has now come into force. But the story is not over yet. The matter has now reached the Supreme Court, and among others, the DMK has challenged its constitutional validity. There has been uproar in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly even this morning. In Parliament, the opposition has said the act is anti-Muslim. The government has maintained that the act brings in efficiency and transparency in the functioning of the Waqf Board. So where lies the truth? We are speaking today on the Statesman Talk to Mr. Firoz Bakht Ahmed. He's the former Chancellor of the Maulana Azad National Urdu University in Hyderabad, and he's also the grand-nephew of India's first Education Minister, Bharat Ratna, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. Thank you for joining us on the show, Mr. Ahmed.
Thank you, Ananya, so much, and thanks to Statesman, the newspaper which I got in my childhood, and I learned all my ABCD from Statesman. Now, this is a very important topic for podcast which you actually have taken up. Why? Because you see, there's a lot of hullabaloo, there's a lot of confusion regarding this Waqf bill, Waqf Act. What is Waqf? Now, I would begin from where you actually started commenting on that. You talked about J&K Assembly, a lot of violence there, also violence in Murshidabad in West Bengal.
Before I come to the violence and the protests over this, I wanted to understand the Waqf's purpose. It's philanthropic, right? So help us understand how you would define why the Waqf was set up, why this Waqf Board exists, what are its roles and responsibilities?
Exactly, that is the basic question. See, the very purpose of the Waqf Act, which is also mentioned in the Holy Quran, there are two surahs in Holy Quran which speak that people who are well-to-do, they should take out some percentage of their property, their cash and whatever, and they should help the ones who are at the fag end of their existence. These people should be helped. So this is a Quranic injunction, number one. Number two, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he also started it, whether you call it Baitul Mal. So in fact, this is what Waqf is meant for, and it is meant for philanthropic purposes, for charitable purposes, especially for the widows, for forlorn Muslim women whose husbands have left them or who are just alone, for educational purposes, for those students who actually can't pay higher fees. It is basically for charitable purposes, helping the Muslim who got left behind.
Yeah, so it's for the collective good of the Muslim community.
True.
It exists because of that, right?
Absolutely.
According to you, has it been fulfilling its purpose in the last few years?
Not the last few years. Since childhood, when I went to college and I started understanding these things, for the last 35, 40 years, I've been following this Waqf Board, right? Not because I want to take any benefit, I could have taken, because my father, who actually happened to be the nephew of Bharat Ratna Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, the first Education Minister of India. He married my mother, did not have good relationship. He left my mother and went to Kolkata. He lived there. At that time, I am just coming to your answer. At that time, my mother was left alone. She was not qualified, except that she had done some Urdu course, Jamia Urdu. But my aunt, who was a triple MA in English, history, and economics, she supported my mother and myself. And my mother used to go to this Waqf Board office in Daryaganj.
I see.
And there she used to take a stipend of 50 rupees per month.
Okay.
I used to go along with her, catching hold of her finger in a rickshaw.
How old
after
were you
some
then?
months, I was a child. I was a child of, I think, 7-10 years. And after some time, with tearful eyes, she said, बच्चू, I was called बच्चू in childhood by her. बच्चू, इन लोगों ने भी जो देते थे 50 रुपए की मदद, वो देनी छोड़ दी. So I came to know that this organization is not doing, it's not serving the purpose which it actually was meant for. By the injunction of the Holy Quran, by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So Waqf Board, actually, it is, first thing is, it is the largest land scam of the world. And it is a daylight robbery. It has 9 9 lakh
8.72 lakh properties.
I mean, it's more than that. It's more than that, and that is all for the help of poor Muslims, poor people. Not only Muslims, even if non-Muslims wanted some help, in the days of the sultans and the kings and emperors, even non-Muslims were also helped. I have read it in some books. However, having said that, Ananya, this Waqf board, what has been happening? I am not carrying any party's brief. I am not a political uh, animal, I should say. I am using a heavy word. I am not a politician. But let me tell you, during the last 55, 60 years, Waqf board was in the hands of some politicians, some political setup, where they appointed their own chairman, they appointed their own members, even the clerks, they used to actually gorge these Waqf lands.
So you are saying it benefited only a select few. It was
Yes.
run by a select few and it benefited only a select
Yes.
few. That's your personal experience.
My personal experience, and it has been, same, today as well. Let me tell you one more thing. I also blame my community. Since I am a part of my community, I am a very, not only practicing, a very devoted Muslim, right, who follows all the tenets. But I have a complaint against my own community. For the last so many years, 100 years, 50 years, 60 years, Waqf board has not been accomplishing the duty that it was set up for. They did not bother at all. As you have rightly said, a select few Muslims were benefiting from it. They gorged upon encroached upon these lands, and by changing the land use, they built their housing societies, they built their malls, whatever they could do, their shops, but it never served.
Okay, but let me come to this question because this is, one justification given by those who are against this move. They say, is mismanagement an excuse to make the changes that have been made in the Waqf Act of 2025? What would you say to that?
Ananya, Muslim community was not concerned for the last so many years. Now, when this government, the BJP or RSS or whatever government you call it, because the very name BJP or RSS is like a red rag to the bull as far as Muslims are concerned. It should not be that way, because I believe in politics, nobody is untouchable. Whether it is Congress, Sapa, Baspa, Trinamool, any good candidate, vote him or her. But what has been happening? The moment when Prime Minister Modi said, I am not carrying any party's brief. The moment he said that we want to help the poor Muslims, we want to bring some funding from encroached upon land to the poor widows, to the poor students, the entire community, I mean, I do not know what happened. It went against this system, this present governance, against PM Modi. I think they should at least wait and watch. Of course, many cases have also been filed in the apex court. Fine. I mean, any person has the democratic right to go against this bill. But one thing, when this bill has been passed in both the houses of parliament, when a lot of time was given to it, I think 138 meetings were conducted, and then not only this, this bill could have been passed in 2024 itself. But when there was opposition in the parliament, joint parliamentary committee was formed. I think this is that debate in the history of the parliaments of India, where it was the second largest discussion. Having gone through all these things, after that also there are protests, people are burning property and cars in Murshidabad, or maybe violence in J&K assembly. I don't understand that. But India is a democratic country, but I believe India is far too democratic, and one cliche in English goes, it is bad to be too good.
What are the provisions in the Waqf Amendment Act of 2025 that you welcome?
See, these provisions are the ones. First of all, let me tell you one thing. What they are saying is that Waqf by user, this will go. It will not go. Say any property, say some property like Fatehpuri Masjid. It is there since the time of Shah Jahan, right? His wife Fatehpur Begum built that mosque. Its land use will not be changed. But If there is some Waqf user where they have encroached a land, built some graveyard or maybe built some mosque, built some madrasa, but have also, encroached a lot of land for their personal benefit and not for the benefit of the poor, those properties will be in question, right? So, Waqf by user will not go in that sense. All those, old madrasas, graveyards, khanqahs, they will remain intact. Muslims who are cribbing these rebel rousers, they have encroached upon the maximum, yards of land, and that's why they are saying, no, this is injustice with Muslim community. All these things, they are misguiding, inciting, and misleading the poor Muslims. They are using this Muslim community being good to them, and they want to save their own Waqf
So
land,
what
which
is
they have
playing out
encroached
now,
upon.
according to you, is pure politics.
It is pure politics. Waqf land, maybe the concept when it started was religious, right? But now it is something which is social, which is administrative. And if they say that they will bring two non-Muslims into the Waqf system, they will not be owners of any property. They will not be the mutawallis. They will not be the caretakers or waqifs. They will just be in places like if a lawyer is required, or if say some chartered accountant is required. It so happens that there are people, if you don't find a good capable Muslim, there might be a Sikh, there might be a Christian, there might be a Hindu who might be doing who might be a better lawyer or a better.
So
This is, I mean they are making a humbug of all. So this is not a bad.
So how you're
precedent.
reading the change that there will be two non-Muslims on the board, you're reading it as bringing in competency. If there are competent people who will help in the administration of the Waqf Board, then bring it in. That's your point of view, right? But what about the presence of women, which is now mandated in the change that the Act has brought in, that there should be at least 2 women on the Waqf Board? How do you view that?
Ananya, there should not be a hue and cry about women. Are they lesser humans? I think women, they are more important than men. The kind of sacrifice which a mother, which a sister, which a wife undergoes to bring up the family or the entire system. So women definitely must be a part of it, right? And I think there is some Shia Waqf Board where women have put it up. I think it's perfectly all right. I was listening to some rebel rouser. He said, we don't recognize this Shia women's, Waqf Board. I mean, these are very petty things. We should come out of that ghetto mentality. Women should also be a part of it. Women, according to Prophet Muhammad, they have a very, very higher pedestal in his eyes. Because one Sahaba means follower of Prophet Muhammad. He went to him and he said, I want to divorce my wife. Prophet said, why? He counted 99 bad qualities. Prophet asked him, okay, 99 bad qualities. Is there any one good quality in your woman, in your wife? Sahaba said, yes, there is one good quality, whatever it was. He said, okay, don't divorce your wife. Focus your entire life on that one good quality of your wife. Don't divorce her. So this is the kind of respect and regard of Prophet Muhammad for women. So why women should not come into the Waqf Board?
Okay, this was one bone of contention, the presence of non-Muslims, the presence of women on the Waqf Board. The other main bone of contention has been Section 40 of the 1995 Waqf Bill, if I'm not wrong. That has been omitted in this version, the 2025 version. What do you have to say to that? Because Section 40, I think, basically says that it empowers the Waqf to investigate any property they believe belong to them. The definition of belief itself was shrouded in ambiguity. So do you think that this ambiguity has now been removed by removing Section 40?
See, there is a lot of hue and cry about the removal of Section 40. Let me tell you one thing, problems occurred with the Waqf Board, and I mean, it's now a very common fact that they went to some village in the south and somebody wanted to sell his land. They said, no, this
yes,
is all.
Yes, that's happened
all
in Tamil Nadu, yes.
Now, and it also used to be said that wherever the Waqf officer put his hand, that land belonged to him. Now these things, when they and these things were done by the few select Muslims who actually wanted to gorge these lands for their personal benefit and not for the common good.
So there was corruption.
Corruption was there.
Yes.
Corruption was there, but in fact grudge I have with my own community, when this corruption was taking place right in front of their eyes, when their women were not supported, when their children who wanted to take good education, when their senior citizens were not being supported, why they remain quiet? You see, one more thing, this government says honestly we'll support the Muslims. I have some reservation about that. They should be given quality time, 1.5 year, maximum 2 years. They should start working. Let me give you one example. In Delhi's, near Delhi Public School, near Nizamuddin, one land was there which was taken up by DDA saying it is our land. And they wanted to build some mall or something, some 5-star hotel. Why? The government should take up these kind of lands and they should build schools for poor Muslims. Like one school was raised during emergency, Qawmi school. That school has not been given its due. And even the school, poor school, won 4,000 meters of land in High Court of Delhi, where I put up the PIL, and Justice Geeta Mittal gave 4,000 meters of land. It has not been given to that poor school. So if the government takes up such cases, if the government says, okay, we are going to build a multi-level and modern madrasa where children will study not only the Holy Quran and Hadith, but also they will learn science, geography, Hindi, French, sports, everything. Government should start up with this thing. And one more thing which I have my complaint with the government is, before doing all this, which is creating a lot of brouhaha, a lot of distrust with the Muslims, is they should have taken the entire Muslim community into confidence, which they actually did not do.
No, but I think I read it on one of the government websites about the stakeholders that were consulted in the process of passing this bill or creating this bill and then getting it passed in Parliament. So the number of stakeholders have been listed in that. Yes, there may be many who are feeling left out. Is that what you are talking about?
No, absolutely. You are right here. Ananya, main problem is not with the common man. The common man does not know what is AIMPLB, All India Muslim Personal Law Board. They think it's a religious organization. It is doing some good to the community. They don't know that it has not done anything since its inception, when it started. And they do not know what Waqf Board is. Problem is with these leaders, the so-called leaders.
Right. So these are the politicians.
They are using Muslims for their personal good.
Yes, I
understand. They know the land might go. As you are talking about Article 40 and Waqf by user, all this will be asked. Government is not going to take away any mosque. It is not going to take away any qabristan, any graveyard, any madrasa, any khanqa.
You are sure about that?
I feel that way because that's what the government intends. But only time will tell. Only the government has to prove that it is honest and it is going to do some good. And if it wants to do some good, it should bring up some modern madrasas, some good schools for the Muslim community.
You seem to be taking a more middle ground. Is this a view that is shared by many within your community that yes, there was a need for reform in the Waqf Board, yes, there was a need to bring in technology, to digitize, so that the Waqf Board functions more efficiently?
Yes, you are true. Many people feel like me. I am not, I am not as they sometimes feel, I am not the thekedar, makandar, dukandar of Muslim community that I have taken this contract to reform Muslim community. I am very much a practicing Muslim, part of the Muslim community. I want to do good to this poor community. However, problem with these people who are like-minded, people actually blame them. They are afraid. They say, "Arey, you are a BJP stooge. How much money, how much funding comes to you from RSS or from VSP?" These Muslims are afraid of these things. I mean, unfortunately, these things come to me also. I tell them, देखो भाई in their own भाषा, देखो भाई मैं किसी पद पदक प्रतिष्ठा पैसे या पोजीशन के पीछे नहीं हूँ. अल्लाह क्या दिया सब कुछ है, और अल्लाह जो देता है, आई एम हैप्पी with that. I am a part of this poor community. I am a poor man myself. I have the only grudge I have with my own community, with the government, is that Muslims are not taken care of, whereas 1200 crores of rupees could have come from the monthly renting of Waqf properties.
If they were run efficiently.
Yes,
You could
honestly.
Yes, the money that you would
Only
get if you ran
less than
the
200
Waqf Board
crores.
efficiently, you would have more money for the welfare of the overall Muslim community, for women, for children, for those in need.
True.
And that has not happened.
True.
And what about sects within the Muslim community? Have all the sects got equal attention, or got what they deserved in terms of the help that the Waqf Board could have given them?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I go to, for my Eid and Bakr namaz, while I used to live in Purani Delhi in Balli Maran, I used to go to Fatehpuri Masjid. Once, after the namaz, the Imam of that mosque, Mufti Mukarram, he shared one thing. He said, Firoz Sahab, ये देखिए कितना ख़राब हो गया इसका जो सहन है मस्जिद का. द ग्राउंड वॉज इन अ वेरी पैथेटिक कंडीशन. मैंने कितनी दरख्वास्तें लिखी हैं वक्फ बोर्ड को, कुछ नहीं किया. लेकिन कुछ साहिब खैर हजरात, सम वेल टू डू पीपल ऑफ द लोकल कम्युनिटी, दे टुक केयर एंड दे बिल्ड द ग्राउंड. सो दिस इज द वक्फ बोर्ड हैज़ नॉट बीन टेकिंग केयर ऑफ एनी मॉस्क. इवन शाही इमाम ऑफ जामा मस्जिद, I don't think there is word Shahi in Islam, but anyway, he also said once a tower of Jama Masjid fell down.
Okay.
Thank God that it did not hurt anyone. He said the Waqf Board is not taking care of these things. So the Waqf Board was not taking care of madrasas, of mosques.
Then what was it doing? If it was not taking care of madrasas, of mosques, which was its primary responsibility.
Yes, I will tell you.
Then what was it doing?
What it was doing is that through its chairmen, whosoever they were the biggest robbers, dacoits. Through its members, they were the biggest robbers and dacoits. Through its workers, even through its, through its peons, what they were doing? They were doing a lot of work. They were gorging, they were selling this land, though it's unsellable. Waqf means Waqf al-Allah. That Waqf is not
It
Waqf
means a
al-Allah.
permanent donation for the cause of overall welfare of the Muslim community.
Right. So they were misusing it. They were headlong into the corruption, and they were honed into this kind of deadly activity. But anyway, something of the lands, there is lot of land which can be made use. And if, as Modi ji was saying at a channel yesterday, I heard him at my place in that conclave, he said, we are going to help the poor Muslims by taking those illegal lands encroached by the rich Muslims who actually pocketed money for their own benefit. Now this we will tax them and we will bring this money back to poor Muslims for their charitable help.
So your point of view is that we should wait and watch, and we hope that there will be better administration of the Waqf Board and more transparent administration as well. In the end, do you feel some of the apprehensions that the community has of the government using this amended act to take away some of the Waqf properties is unfounded? The apprehension is unfounded.
There's a lot of apprehension. Let us talk about the thing which is on ground, Ananya. They are quite afraid of this. And they are more afraid because of the so-called leaders, whose names also you might have heard. They are also misguiding them, right? There's a lot of apprehension. However, since in Islam, it's, Islam says, don't be hopeless. That's a guna. That's a sin. I am still hopeless. But these Muslims have to be properly educated, not by the so-called Muslim leaders, but by honest people who want the real good.
You're still hopeful, you mean?
I am still hopeful, and I think I can wait and watch for for 1 year, 1.5 years, maximum 2 years. But if no good is done to the common Muslim, the poor Muslim, then I would be my one-man party who would go against these amendments if these are not taken up honestly.
Right. Mr. Firoz Bakht Ahmed, thank you so much for joining us.
Ananya, don't say thank you. Before this, I would say something which is very important, and if I don't say, it would be criminal on my part.
Please do.
To all the Muslims, I tell them, देखो मुसलमानों, तुम्हारे लिए हिंदू से बेहतर दोस्त और हिंदुस्तान से अच्छा मुल्क नहीं. To Hindu brethren, I tell them that look here, all the Muslims of India, 99-100% Muslims of India, they are honest, they are nationalists, they are country loving. In Hindi we say कि जितने भी ये मुसलमान हैं, ये संस्कारी हैं, राष्ट्रवादी हैं, देशभक्त हैं, इनको समझो, हसास हैं और बहुत ज़्यादा जज्बे से भरे हुए हैं. टैप डियर गुडनेस, राइट. और आखिर में एक शेर के साथ, ये शेर मैं आपको भी डिवोट करता हूँ अनन्या जी, और स्टेट्समैन जो पूरा एक सिस्टम है उसको, कि बचपन से स्टेट्समैन मेरे दिल से जुड़ा हुआ है. भारत पे मेरे रहमत परवरदिगार हैं, कृपा प्रभु राम की, कान्हा का प्यार है.
Thank you so much. Lovely poetic note to end this podcast on. Thank you for joining us. That's it on this episode of the Statesman Talk, but we'd love to hear back from you on what you thought of this podcast and what other topics you'd like us to discuss. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We come from the House of Statesman, which is one of India's oldest English newspapers.